guys, this is Cassandra. I'm a Riffle on Time, and I'm so glad you're here. Today we are doing something I'm very excited about. We are doing the ways I work with my decks. So I received a comment that I had told you guys about, and it was really like, what does working with your deck look like? A lot of people mention like, I work with these decks, but they don't get into the specifics. And if you're someone who normally does like just an ask a question, pull a card kind of vibe, even like what kind of other questions are people asking? And I do a lot of things with my deck, so I was like, I can do this one. There's probably way more than I even have written down, and I have so much written down. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a really big overview kind of vibe. We're going to be brief about, well, it's me, so take brief how you want it, but we're going to be not as in-depth as I could be, but we'll go over like the different types. And if you want to see them up close, I'm happy to expand this into like a series of videos. I wanted to come in and give you a little to be noted. I did a little more editing on this video and like clipping out. I had a cold, so I was like sneezing, coughing, sniffling vibes, so I didn't want you to have to listen to all that. So I did clip a little more than I normally do. I'm sorry if it seems a little jumpy, but I always envision that everybody just watches me in the background anyways, and if they don't, that they just love me through it. So I still thought that the video was filled with good stuff, you know? And also, I did clip in the conversation that I had with spread crafters for you so that you could see how a conversation looked, but I did not clip in the spread. I thought if you guys want to see closer up on the spread, we can do that in one of those future videos, but I wanted to give you kind of like a bite of what it might look like if we went more up close and personal with one. If I did a separate video for any of these kind of ideas of how to work with, it would be even more in depth than that, most likely. So if you are interested, comment below, let me know. Also, thank you for being here. I love you. And anything else? Oh, a Riffle on Time is my tarot shop, and I will leave that below. Okay, love you. So first is obviously really what I feel like most people do is the ask a question, pull a card. So the types of questions you can ask feels like endless. One thing I will say is I don't believe like I'm future telling or have any inkling into what is happening next. What I usually do is I use my cards in like a really reflective way, and I do feel like if I were to have a space in the world where I'm like downloading messages from the universe, source, God, however you like to use that, this would be my way, is I would feel connected. So mine is normally like, am I moving in the right direction? Like more of a confirmation, not like, what day am I going to die? Or something like that. So to each their own, but I also really like to do as an energy of the day card. It is kind of still like the ask a question, pull a card, but I will ask like, what's the energy for today? What's like the energy that can best support me? I like to do with crystal cards. I have tons of decks here and things to show you, but I like to use like a deck like this. This is the Radiant Crystal cards, and I'll pull a card and pick my crystal energy for the day. I think that's a really cool way. And 3 would be conversations. So I actually did a pre-recording of this video where I was like kind of trying to feel like how deep I was going to go in, and I might actually leave a little like part of that here because I actually did a conversation and a spread. So for the conversation, one of my favorite decks to have just a full-on conversation with is Spread Crafters. The idea of like the conversation I want to have with my deck is feeling like I'm lacking clarity. I feel like I don't have like a really good idea of my direction, which is very abnormal for me. And what the card I got was opinion. It says a view that is formed based on what you know, how you think, and how you feel, a perspective or judgment informed by your personal experiences, your upbringing, your worldview. So to me, in this moment, it's like if I said like, I'm feeling like I'm lacking clarity, I don't really have a direction, it's my perspective. It's like, okay, well, you need to shift your perspective then. If you're not feeling clear in the direction you're looking, that is literally just like because of how you're looking at it, or just from the direction you're standing in. So then, okay, well, in what direction do I go in? And away from problematic behavior, it says. So I got the card problematic behavior. What are the toxic behaviors from you or from others that are present in your life right now? What needs to be acknowledged and dealt with? So it's saying, first off, get off your bullshit. Just get off your bullshit. If you are either on your bullshit or you're allowing other people to put their bullshit in your life, that's not it. That's not the choice. And also, kind of like acknowledging and dealing with the situations that we know aren't for us, and just clearing them. And this is a shadow work card, so maybe doing a little shadow work. So what would I say back to problematic behavior other than like, stop reading me to filth? Oh, it's so funny. Behavior, how you express your feelings, thoughts, or actions, or how you conduct yourself towards others, your actions and reactions. So, I'm sorry, it feels so cheeky, like, like, I was like, stop reading me, and it's like, well, stop acting like it. God, it's just so funny. I'm sorry. My deck's so cheeky sometimes. But so, if I'm feeling unclear and I'm lacking clarity, stop making decisions and acting in ways that are fogging the view. Stop bringing in situations that are not aligned. Stop being, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Oh, okay. Well, then it said, have a little compassion for yourself. How can you show empathy, sensitivity, charity, and understanding to yourself and others? How can you help alleviate suffering? So it's really like being compassionate, seeing myself where I am, acknowledging, hey, like you're doing this for a reason. It's okay. You see it now. Make the changes. Love yourself. How can we solve this problem? And how are we going to solve this problem? So this is victory. What validates you, affirms you, and establishes you? What makes you feel like a winner? How do you become victorious? And see, it turns into a good thing. So how can I like alleviate my own suffering? And it's like finding the things that do make me feel that way, because that's how I want to feel. I want to feel more myself, in my body, grounded in my decisions. I do want to feel accomplished. That is like an important thing for me to feel, is that like my efforts are being rewarded. And it's like, we'll stop putting your efforts into situations that are not rewarding. Like, don't give your time and energy to things that are not fruitful for you and are not for the things that you are wishing for. So if you have a goal and then you're doing stuff over here, it's like, it's not getting you any closer to that. It's distracting you. It's siphoning from you. You know, so conversation. Sorry for the long-winded there. We were having a good talk. I love spread crafters. Just like a really authentic moment of like what it would look like. And it might seem silly, but it ended up being really helpful actually. And then the same for the spread. What I do want to share here is a couple different like places I like to find spreads. So I find a lot of great spreads actually from 3am Tarot, who also does the Finding the Fool book. There are really great spreads in here as well. I've said, I think in one of my other videos, how I really love the spreads from the archetype spreads here in the Finding the Fool book, but also they have so many that they post on a regular basis on their page. Another one I really love, and probably like one that I feel like super comfortable with, is the Everything spread. This is from the WTF is Tarot, which is from Bakara, who is like the creator / co-creator of both of these decks here, Way Home and Visions. This is the spread I think I've seen used the most, so maybe it's why I'm most comfortable with. It's the one from the Sunday readings, and it's the one I use in that little clip I was talking about. A lot of guidebooks will have spreads in them in the like kind of information section. You can use a deck like Spread Crafters, which is an amazing place, and it walks you through in the guidebook how to get like your own spreads, but also offers some spreads in there already pre-done. But doing spreads is another way. It's kind of building on that ask a question, pull a card. I also do journaling. Journaling is one of my favorites. So I have some resources here. One, I will say you can go your own way. You can do it however you want, and that is what I tend to do. I tend to go completely rogue. Let me show you. This is just from the other day. I was pulling from the Hollow Valley deck of symbols, and so what I did, I pulled the card, I did a little observation. I have these little, let me show you a blank one. I have these little guys that I love to throw into my journal. So this is just me writing down the card. I'll write down either what I first see or maybe something important I found in the guidebook. Then I will write a little about how I feel about that, how that's reflective to me. And then in this case, it was reminding me, like the message was reminding me of a song that I haven't heard in a very long time. So then I played that song and then printed out the lyrics and like kind of made it my own little page. So that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. And I think journaling is like a really cool way to go a little deeper and like really set a reading in for me, and the message behind it, and like really like start to integrate it into actually learning into my life. Another way that I do journal is through kind of like resources, like actually the 3 a.m. Tarot. Meg Jones Wall does at least sometimes, these kind of like courses or like email things. So I'm like in like kind of a class or course with them this month, and what it is they're sending an email every Monday throughout the rest of the month, and it's actually based around strength and the star card for this year and just journaling prompts. So I have some here from the star, and I'm just like, these questions are already set up for me, and I'm just answering and journaling through them. So that is another kind of option for journaling. Also, there are some decks that are really good about it. I have said so many times how much I love the Gentle Tarot full-size guidebook, but if you see here in the upright and reverse meanings, there are a lot of questions. What part of myself inspires confidence to create? Like, it'll ask questions, and what I'll do is I actually have a separate journal just for the Gentle Tarot, which is the Gentle Tarot journal. And Mari has like really cool stickers that are the cards, which I think is amazing. I love when creators do that. And then, so let's go to, so I pulled a card, I wrote down stuff from the guidebook I liked, and then I journaled out those questions on the other side. So sometimes it'll look like fleshed out, sometimes it doesn't. Like sometimes I'll pull multiple cards, and I just really go with what feels good. That's really what I do. Sometimes I pull the cards and I don't journal because we can't all be winners. Oh, here's one where I did a spread of mine, and then I pulled the cards, the guidebook stuff, and here I journaled it out. So that actually we're gonna do some Gentle Tarot journaling today. But another deck that is really good at that is the Energy Archaeology Oracle. After every card you pull, let me just grab all my resources. After every card you pull, there are 4 questions. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there are 4 questions down here. Again, journaling through what you just pulled. Decision making. Okay, so this is one of the, like we talked about earlier, I don't normally do like, tell me what to do, but one thing I do that feels really good is a deck like the Compass cards, or Spread Crafters also works really well for me on this. I set up where I am maybe thought mapping how I feel about things. So this deck is actually specifically set up though to kind of do like a decision making. Let me find, there's like really cool little cards, different card suits there. And then it's, you find your North Star, and then from your North Star, you like create an intention. You can write in your journal about it, pick a topic, and then what's on your mind about it, and then start pulling cards, answer those questions, reflect on the journey, and then when at the end, you pick a do card. So an immediate action, which is what will instruct you, but you like put the cards in like these orientations, and it literally has step-by-step instructions. And this is actually how I decided to leave my job that I was at the time. And it was just like working through how I felt. And then the do action ended up, that's where we ended up, which was where I was feeling. And I just really needed to like flesh through my feelings with that. But it was a way that I used it as decision making. The next, I do love to do like good self-care. There is one deck that I think it's the self-care adventure cards. I mean, its whole purpose is self-care. So I love to show this one for it. This is really great. It also has different categories where you can like choose from what you're looking for, or you can just mash them all together and pull a card a day. This has different types. So this one is like change your mode of transportation, take a break. We have enjoyment reflection. So we have some, again, journaling prompts. Visit your favorite spot to relax. Get lost. And it has like some examples of how you can do that. Bake something. Provide random act of kindness. And then some options there. So it's just like feel good ways to intentionally care for ourselves. And then schedule a date with yourself. Wake up early and watch the sunrise. Like, there's a bunch of really cool things, but a deck like this that's giving me like actionable things, chef's kiss. Another thing I do, and this will kind of lead into the next one, is I love an affirmation card. So this will be a way that I'm like focusing my energy on like what is it important that I do to care for myself, but also like pulling a card, having it like on my mirror. I love to put these as bookmarks, and they're just like different like affirmations to focus on, but also I can use this as like a branch off of like where do I need to take the best care of myself. So I do a little both with it. This is definitely one of my favorite affirmation decks. It always, even like the maybe like a little bit of a heavier card, always have like really good twists of like how to make it positive. It's a really feel good deck for me. And then I also have another affirmation deck here, and this one is for babies and toddlers and just like small children in general, or us adults who have the child side. I think everyone should embrace. It's beautiful, but I like to work with this with my son. It's like if maybe we're having a hard time and focusing on something in particular that we want to work through, we'll find a card and we'll say the affirmation. And other times we just pull a card. The one like when he was like really young that we used a lot was I am gentle. Toddlers aren't known for being so gentle, but that's how I'm a good listener. But these are really fun for that kind of like intentional. I'm kind, I'm deep, I'm loving. A good affirmation for the day. Picking crystals, again, this was like the energy of the day example, but also this is how I pick my crystals for the day. Meditation. One of the ones that I'm like really excited to do this with is the Ritual Tarot. I think I mentioned it in the video that I'll be posting today actually, which is the like 10 decks for 2024, I think is what I called it. But the Ritual Tarot, I'm really excited to, it gives me this kind of like drawn in feeling. And what I really want to do is like meditate on what's coming up for me in this card. Like, what do I see? What do I smell? Just like spending that time, and then I want to journal, brain dump it out after. So I think that is going to be super fun, but I also do that with like other decks. That one just in particular felt like a really cool like meditation journaling moment I could make for myself. But just in general, like say I pull the Empress from one of my tarot decks, it's like I want to take time to meditate with the Empress. And I love to find guided meditations that already like exist, because I think those are super helpful. Also, the Goddess Oracle. Oh, let me find it. The Goddess Oracle. The Goddess Oracle does this very well. It has actually little meditations for each of the goddesses. So it's like, it'll explain to you what the goddess is, what their, it gives you like a little poem, what their mythology is, what the message for you is, and then it will also give you like, it's like a ritual suggestion, and it's usually like lie on your back, and then it'll walk you through, which I just think is such a, it's so beautiful when cards have stuff like this. It's like, there's like decks that really are supportive. There's also another deck that has the Death Doula, as you know from my top 10 Oracle decks of 2023. I love this guidebook. So one of the cards has, here's a perfect example, the Formless Meditation. So if you come back here, you go through this meditation. There's a lot of really cool things that this deck does that I work with this specifically in this way. So it has meditations, it has Goddess Bath, it has harnessing the moon. We have different spells, intuitive walking. I mean, there's so many, lucid dreaming, so many cool things in here. A lot of really cool practices. So this deck in general, this is the Death Doula. Again, it has a little guidebook with it that has just a wealth of ways to use these cards and like go a step further with them. I love that. So finding a deck that already does that for you is really, really beautiful. Altars. I love to build an altar around a card. This year, I think I'm going to start using the Devas of Creation. That was another one I mentioned in the 10 decks for 2024. I want to start using that as like my card of the month, and then I want to build my monthly altar around it. I also will do that when I'm building like an altar for like a certain intention. I will find a card that reflects that intention, crystals, herbs, all the things that support that, to build it out and flesh it out. I also like to do like during different like moons or seasons or things, I will build again an intentional altar with a card that's reflective of that. I also have the Celestial Bodies Oracle altar size. I want to, and I told you, like, I want to get into astrology and know more about what's happening, and I want to start pulling a card from that, setting it on my altar, and like reflecting over. That's like a whole like learning with cards is also a big possibility. That's an astrology based learning deck I haven't used yet. It's been on the list, but I'm really excited to get into it. So learning is another thing you can do with decks. There's a lot of decks that will teach you about so many different things, like from goddesses, from literally the energy of your bones. I mean, I could go on way too long about that. But learning is another great way that you can use your decks. Spell work, like I did mention, like the altar, but also there are a lot of spells specifically that you could use, either the cards or the energy from the cards. You could kind of center it around Actually, I have quite a few decks that also do that. The Death Doula being one good example that will have like kind of like spells or things that you can do with them. Embodying Archetypes. So there's a deck that I have been seeing a lot lately, and it's the Wild Unknown Archetypes. I want to get a hold of it because I love the idea of like embodying like the energy of a card in general, but I really want to do that kind of work with that deck. I think it would be a really special setup. But again, something like as simple as pulling from your tarot deck. If you want the High Priestess energy, if like that's something you're yearning for, that kind of like intuitive vibe, sitting with it. What does the Empress look like? What does she embody that you're not? How can you take pieces of that and filter it into your life? More fresh fruit, like again, gardening. I don't know. Just again, depending on your card, depending on your intention, just finding ways to bring that into your life, I think is really special. Then we have healing. I have like grief work, stuff like that. So a lot of like working through, whether it's like my traumas, my losses, my maybe just like sometimes we're on the wheel and we need to get off of it, and I think it's a really good way to be reflective, be self-aware, be mindful of the moments where you're not acting in your best interest, that you're not working in your best energy, that you're not in the right direction. Grief work I love to do with the Future Ancestor Tarot. So working through loss with the cards, that's kind of a personal one, but just like trying to like heal the mother wound and heal the hole that like something left in your life, and actually processing the emotions that maybe you left for another day, and maybe today's the other day. I love to do like inner child work with the Playful Heart Tarot, finding joy again, reminding myself of feeling safe. So there's a ton of different options there, and I think that one of my favorites to do like daily, kind of like unlearning, relearning, just like healing for the sake of like caring for myself and my body and not for others. I love to use the Gentle Tarot Guidebook. I think it's just like really empowering, really healing in like the way that is like filling your own cup, advocating for yourself, that kind of vibe. I really love the Gentle Tarot for that. I love that guidebook more than most things. I also love to do art and collage and things with decks. So one, you do not have to physically sacrifice a deck. I want to say that. As you saw in my journal, wherever it has went to, I like to print out little pictures. I have like one of those little sticker printers. I also have a deck that I did a collage with. I'll show you in a minute. So now I have like a free deck to use whenever, but oh, there we go. That's just a little picture I printed out. So there's that option. You can print it out, you can draw it, which I've done before in a different space. You could do some collage art. Mari had a little workshop that she did where we took cards from the Gentle Tarot. At that time, you could have bought like a little 10-pack of her cards. I did not do that in time. So what I did instead is I sacrificed one of my decks and I cut them up and I put them in like art, and it was like a really wonderful experience. But again, you could print off pictures of them and do that and draw them, write about them, like whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be actually like sacrificing a deck, but now I have a deck of cards that I can use anytime I want for art, for that kind of like play that I really love. So I think there's so many things you could do there. I also think that's a really great way to journal. If you have stickers that are the cards, or you have the physical cards, you have pictures of the cards, that's again, bringing that kind of art back to journaling. Let's look. Vision boarding and goal setting. So first off, this was kind of, this was like a collage tarot reading, but I also kind of used it as a vision board of like the cards I pulled were the ways I wanted to feel for 2024. I also, do I have it in here? But I did have like printed out the cards that for my year ahead spread, and then I turned it into like a vision board. Oh, So this is a vision board, not of the cards. This is just like photos that I found that felt reflective of those goals. Then anxiety and self-soothing. So this is what I do a lot. So especially when like I go to events and things and I'm feeling super anxious, one of the things I love to do first off is Riffle shuffle, because it makes me feel more in my body. It kind of calms me. It's like really soothing to me. So I'll start out just shuffling, and I can turn this into a moment where I do like a conversation. So maybe I'm like, why am I feeling this? You know, whatever it may be, I could do that. Sometimes I just like what energy, what could I embody that would make me feel stronger, that would like shift the situation. So again, like there's different ways you can ask questions. If not, you can just shuffle it out. And I remind myself of like the magic I have in me, the magician in me that is completely capable. I have the tools, I can wield the energy. But it is really helpful for me to kind of do that. So then the last one I'll do, because we're already at 33 minutes and I'm not even actually in depth going through everything with you. The last one I'll do is I like to write. I've said before, I love to do like short stories and poems. So I am going to share with you today, actually. I talked about this, and I think another way of art I do, I like to make bookmarks. So if I have a damaged deck, I will make bookmarks. I actually want to get those posted in the shop. I still have some left. I used to only sell them at events, but I have some left, and I think that would be really cool. But I shared in my 10 decks for 2024 that I love to creative write with this deck, and one of my favorites that like it always sticks out to me is the Fool. So in this card, as I was meditating on this card, something that I really felt was like the adventure that lies beyond this door here to me. So the Fool from the Blood Moon Tarot, what I have is adventure she towers, for fulfillment is lost. The way to happiness will sure have a cost. So you must be brave, leave now with haste. With adventure in front of us, can you keep with the pace? So it was just like a silly little poem, but it's stuck with me. It's so funny. I did that probably 2 years ago now, and I still think about it, and I'm like feeling like I'm about to embark on a journey. That poem will pop up in my head still after all this time. And it's like, for me, going off on an adventure a lot of the times is like I just tried to combine Blood Moon and Outgrow Yourself, and I felt like, I was like, these cards don't feel right together. Like how a lot of times when we go on an adventure, we're seeking fulfillment and happiness, and what it takes to be able to like leave what is known and what is no longer serving you, what is no longer fulfilling you in your life, and in search for something else, which all the trials and tribulations ahead, the possibility of not finding it. Just doing like sweet little short stories, writings. I've done it too with Somnia. Just really enjoy. I want to find a place that I can like start keeping all these, because it took me a minute to actually find this and where I had hid it. Maybe actually this one, since it's been so special, will live in here. I think that will be special for that. But that's another way. So there's still, I promise you, actually I have some sitting here that I didn't even go over real quick. The Magic Morsels, I think this deck is, for so many reasons, a good deck. I actually use it as an oracle deck, but I've said before, I use this to pick my meal of the day sometimes when I don't have the will to do so. A good cheeky fun deck. This is the No Filter. I do want to mention this actually. This is like one of those fun, like if you need that like kind of person to call you out on your BS, this is it. No Filter is definitely that deck. So I have so many other things, but I think that wraps it up. If you are excited about the idea of seeing more of what any of that looks like, please let me know. I think I might anyways just do it because I think it will be fun, but I'd really love to share like an in-depth look of some of those. So I love you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.